There's an island just off the coast of Hội An in Vietnam that doesn't wait for you to be ready. The trip out feels like a gamble, the kind of ride where the horizon keeps its secrets until you're too far out to turn back. What waits there isn't polished, and it isn't fancy, but that's the point. Cham Island runs on its own rhythm. Days stretch, nights get mildly louder, and somewhere between the two, you start to lose track of which part you came for. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's the roads. Maybe it's the way the place doesn't pretend to be anything other than what it is. One thing is certain, once you step off the boat, you're not just visiting Cham Island, you're inside it. The trip to Cham Island begins not with palm trees or cocktails, but with a line. Tourists, locals, and bags all pressed together at the dock, waiting for the ferry to move. It's the kind of queue that says more about Vietnam than any postcard. No clear system, just momentum carrying everyone forward until the boat finally swallows them whole. Engines rumble, the dock slips away, and the city shrinks into the haze. The water takes over, waves slapping the hull, spray hitting faces, and the shoreline stretching wider the further out you go. The boat is alive with chatter, half excitement and half unease. Everyone pretending they've done this before. But on the open water, the ride becomes its own event. Some lean into the breeze, others hold tight to their bags, but everyone is watching the horizon. Cham Island doesn't appear all at once. It arrives slowly, a dark shape against the sea that sharpens with every passing minute. By the time the ferry cuts the engine, the anticipation has already built. The island waits at the edge of the frame, promising beaches, homestays, and whatever else might unfold beyond the shore. Cham Island has more than one way in. Some arrivals touch down on beaches that look made for postcards, smooth sand, clear water, a clean backdrop for tourists. But this port isn't that. Here it's a hodgepodge of docks, boats, and rock walls pressed against the tide. A working entrance that makes no attempt at being picturesque. Stepping off the ferry feels more like crossing into a village harbor than arriving at a destination. A driver is waiting, a woman balancing the task of me and two backpacks onto the back of her scooter. The road cuts hard through sharp curves and uneven pavement. The jungle pressing close before it opens again to flashes of horizon, blue water and empty sky. It's beautiful, but it's also isolated. The kind of ride that makes you realize how far you've stepped away from the mainland. The homestay carries that same balance. He checks in at Ngo Khanh Homestay in Bãi Làng Village on Cham Island, the quiet harbor side of Tân Hiệp Commune in Quảng Nam province. Modest in scale, but fitted with the essentials that matter out here. Air conditioning, hot showers, and a king-size bed. Not bad for $16 a night. It's not luxury, but for a secluded island village, it's more than you expect. Enough comfort to settle in without taking away from the rawness and authenticity of a remote island. Cham Island doesn't unfold in a circle. The road split into zones. The south, where the villages and homestays cluster. The north, quieter with stretches of sand and open coast. And the east, where the pavement gets chewed apart and the ride turns into a test. The only logical move was to rent a sputtering machine of questionable origin and tear it loose across the island. A two-wheeled death rattle dressed up as a rocket. Plastic cracked, seat foam bleeding through, speedometer frozen in some forgotten decade. But in his head, this beast was Detroit steel on fire. A snarling monster, coughing black smoke like a dragon that hadn't eaten in years. Every twist of the throttle was pure apocalypse. A thunder run through paradise. A filthy miracle that somehow held together as the road uncoiled beneath him. And then there was the helmet. A World War II plastic knockoff, stripped of padding, engineered by sadists with no concept of comfort. The only helmet on the island big enough to cage his oversized skull. A hollow shell, just barely wide enough to keep the brains from spilling if the whole operation went sideways. This schooner deserves its own moment. Rattling, coughing, threatening to stall, but it keeps moving. Somewhere along the ride, it stops being a liability and becomes a partner. Carrying him across every corner the island will give up. The east side is where the island shows its teeth. Mud and boulders spill across these roads. Cliffs press tight against the scooter, and the ocean pulls at your shoulder as you thread through what's left. It's rough, almost deserted. Out here, it feels less like tourism and more like the fun part of survival. Heading north, the road isn't a road at all. Just a labyrinth of broken pavement, twisting and crumbling beneath the tires. One wrong turn and you're swallowed by the cliff. One bad slip and you're airborne into the sea. Boulders scatter the path like ancient dice, daring the machine to roll. To the right, an obscene panorama. The kind of view that commands respect, even as it dares you closer. Beauty and death in the same frame. And the throttle's the only thing holding them together. Cham Island isn't a single path. It's fragments of coast and jungle, each road ending where the island decides. The ride ties them together. By the time it loops back toward town, the sea is already calling for what comes next. Snorkeling on Cham Island doesn't follow the easy plan. I figured I'd just hire a company once I got here, hand them some cash, follow their guide, and check the reef off the list. Turns out it doesn't work that way. The tours are arranged back on the mainland in Hội An before you ever set foot on the island. By the time you arrive, you're on your own. So instead I borrowed some gear from the homestay, strapped it to the scooter, and went searching. No guide, no schedule, just the road and whatever beaches it was willing to give up. The first spot was a small beach, simple and quiet with a few people scattered around. It wasn't grand, but it carried that small beach charm. Compact, unassuming. Enough to feel like you'd stumbled into a corner worth remembering. The second was different. The main beach stretched off in the distance, busy enough to draw boats and hangers-on, but I stayed to the side, where the rocks broke into a cove. Nobody there, just rough coral and jagged stone marking the waterline. Getting in meant stepping over the rocks, slipping into the sea where it felt less like a reef and more like the island itself spilling into the waves. A harder entry, but a view that belonged to me alone. What I explored was only a fraction of what Cham Island holds. There are beaches I never reached, hidden behind cliffs, tucked into coves that only locals know, places too far off the map to stumble into by chance. I managed a handful, just enough to taste the edges, but the island has plenty more tucked away. More sand, more rock, more secrets, waiting for anyone stubborn enough to go looking. The morning began with a simple offer. Fishing. Of course he said yes. Within the hour, he was paired with a captain who spoke no English, but radiated a kind of devotion to the sea that didn't need translating. The rigging made it clear there would be no monsters caught today. Only small fish, quick and ordinary, nothing that would ever make a trophy wall. The coconut boat was another story. A round bowl on the water, propelled not by rowing, but by wiggling a single oar in the opposite direction you wanted to move. It was the sort of invention that seemed like madness to anyone raised on symmetry and paddles, but it carried them out all the same, spinning forward with an awkward grace. Other tourists floated nearby, and the air turned competitive. Who could haul in more? Who might snag something bigger? But the fish were small, laughably so, and the contest collapsed under its own absurdity. Even so, the lines kept pulling, and fish did come aboard. At one point, the captain hauled in a spiked fish, its fins poisonous to the touch. He handled it with the ease of someone who had done this 100 times, waving off the danger with gestures that made it clear. This one wasn't safe, but it was good eating. Another twist in the island's logic, where even the hazards end up in the soup. When they finally returned to shore, the bucket held enough to call it a catch. At the homestay, the fish were transformed into breakfast, a steaming bowl of soup, sharp with salt and sea. Proof that even the smallest haul carries value when the island decides to give it up. He sits down like a man about to uncover some ancient secret, when really, it's just dinner. Plates hit the table one after another, and he's already narrating each bite like the camera's waiting for a Michelin star review. This is Cham Island, not the Food Network. But don't tell him that.
So game on. We've got a lot of different foods here to pick from. We've got some clams, we've got some fried spring rolls, so we've got squid, and then we've also got some scallops. And this is an oyster, so it's like different types of scallops too, so there's a lot of different things going on here. It's a lot of food, but I'm gonna eat it all because I'm hungry. Honestly, I've had a lot of spring rolls, especially since I came to Vietnam. And a lot of them are pretty typical. They're almost like, oh my God, this is so much food. How am I gonna eat it all? Well, easiest way to eat it all is not have anything for the whole day, and then you're so hungry, it becomes real easy. But like I said, the spring roll it's not your typical spring roll. Like, I think a lot of them, you'll see they're perfectly symmetrical. And these ones are just hand rolled and fried right here. Absolutely awesome. I'd be happy with just these. In fact, I think I'm gonna order some more tomorrow.
Bites into the spring roll and suddenly he's a critic, declaring it different, superior, maybe even worth ordering tomorrow. Never mind that he's said the same thing in half a dozen towns already.
And two sauces they have here. One is pretty typical. It's black pepper and salt, and you put some lime in it, you mix it up. It's awesome. I'm surprised it hasn't caught on more into the States. And they have more of a, I don't know, it's like a curry lime. Let me try it again here.
Two sauces on the table and he treats them like a discovery. Salt, pepper, lime. Reinventing the wheel and acting like he's the first man to ever turn it.
Whoops. That's different. Must be some island sass. I'm gonna try some more stuff with this sauce. It's really, really good. The next thing I want to try is the clams here. It looks like they are barbecued. I'll try to do this with the chopsticks, and then I'm gonna just scoop them out with my teeth. So the clams, they're cooked perfectly, and they taste very fresh. I do a lot of clamming back home, and that's fresh. That's like caught today, easily. But it's just butter, some onions, and also peanuts. I think that's it. But simple, it works. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna try is this squid. And I'm excited about this. Squid's one of my favorite seafoods. I'm just gonna go for the big one. The big bite. I'm gonna do it without anything else except whatever they put on it. It's very simple. There's some sesame seeds, there's some oil, and there's salt, and it's cooked to perfection. You know, I think a lot of the time that when you see or taste squid, that it's pretty rubbery, and I've had a lot of that recently for whatever reason. But this stuff's perfect. I have a couple chews, and it's down. I do want to try it with some of the sauce, though. Yeah, I really like this other sauce as a pretty based, but it's kind of spicy. It's got something else in it. I can't figure out what it is, but it's beautiful. That was a big one. That's so good. Again, this tastes like it was caught today. I used to catch squid when I was living up in Seattle. I'd go out to the pier with some friends and some beers and catch squid. I'd take it back and I'd turn it into calamari. Really good memories, and ever since then I've been obsessed with squid. All right, so the next thing I'm going to get into here are the scallops and the oyster. Again, all fresh, right from the ocean here. Can't ask for a better scenario. A little chewy, completely acceptable, especially if you like chewy stuff. It's similar to the clams, but I think there's some fish sauce in with it as well. Definitely fish sauce, which I love. Fish sauce is an acquired taste for a lot of Westerners, but once you get accustomed to it, it's fantastic. It's better than soy sauce, in my opinion. All right, so the next thing I'm getting into here is a fish. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It looks like tuna, like a small tuna. But let's try it and see what happens. It definitely has a texture like tuna and flavor. It's got that kind of a sour taste that fresh tuna has. Hits the side of your tongue. Yeah, that's really good. I think if you took that fish and mixed it up and made a tuna sandwich out of it, it'd be really good. It is really good by itself, but. And of course, the quintessential shrimp. You find these everywhere. Almost every restaurant has it. Just depends on how you want to eat it. If you just want to like eat the whole thing, you can. And I've done that. It's a little gamey for me. I like to honestly peel it. When you do it right, looks like that. You absolutely can't go wrong with grilled shrimp. It's so sweet. If it's cooked perfectly like this is here too, it's nice and soft. You get all the flavors, seafood flavor that shrimp offers. It's one of the delicacies of seafood for sure. So overall, I don't know how I could expect more than this. And I'm not just talking about the quantity of food, I'm talking about the excellence of this food. Right by the ocean, food caught from the ocean. It's really tough to beat, especially for the price. I think this whole thing was like $12 for all of this. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's the way it is out here in Vietnam. But it's not just this and the atmosphere. The family that cooks all of this stuff. They live here. I'm staying at their homestay, and I'll put a link below so you guys can enjoy it as well if you're out here on Cham Island. It is absolutely a one-of-a-kind of experience, and I'm sure, I say one-of-a-kind, I'm sure there's awesome experiences all over this island and other islands, but for me, this was very nice.
Before leaving, he stopped at another village near the homestay. A quiet strip with its own beach, a couple of restaurants, and rooms tucked behind the shoreline. It looked like another version of the same story. Rustic, simple. A place to stay if you wanted the island without the crowd. Another option. Another corner left unexplored. When it came time to go, he and the homestay owner headed back together with his luggage to the port. There, at a small restaurant near the dock, the owner handed him off to the people in charge of putting passengers onto ferries. They were supposed to send him onto the right one, but instead shuffled him toward another boat. The cheaper version, slower and stripped down, but somehow better. The kind of mistake that works in your favor. This ferry carried a different rhythm. No strict rows of seats, no enforced life jackets. Just a slower, looser way of leaving the island. Before it pushed off, he helped the women load crates of empty bottles onto the stern, less a passenger than a deckhand. A kind of initiation into the trip ahead. This ride would take 20 to 25 minutes longer than the tourist boat, crawling across the water at its own pace. But that pace gave him something better. The top deck, the open air, the freedom to watch Cham Island dissolve into the horizon. And as it slipped away, his 2-day trip flashed through his mind. The spread of seafood laid out like an altar. The scooter rattling through broken roads and landslides. The quiet of snorkeling coves where even the monkeys kept their distance. All of it bound together by the slow boat. A final reminder that this is the romantic side of travel. The way it gets under your skin and keeps you coming back. This is where the travel bug bites, and where the whole thing starts to make sense.
Okay, let's go.